Hey y'all, today we are going to talk about congruent and similar shapes. So let's go ahead and get started with our notes. When you are comparing shapes, you're actually comparing their corresponding sides and angles. Okay, corresponding means the sides that match up and the angles that match up. This is talking about sides and angles that match up, exactly what I just said. For example, if I look at the following quadrilaterals. Okay, so we want to find what matches up. Side AD. So go and find side AD on this first one. That would correspond to which one over here? So A to D. That corresponds with WZ. Okay, what about DC? D to C would correspond with ZY. What about side AB? A to B would correspond with W to X. Those are sides. And side CB, C to B, would correspond with Y to X. Notice that I did those in the exact same order. If it was A to B, I put W to X. I didn't go backwards. Now, let's talk about the angle measures. So those are all sides, actual angles. So if I'm talking about the angles, angle A, so that's going to be this angle, the inside, that angle right there. That matches and corresponds to angle right here. Angle W. And this is the mark for angle. You need to always put that. Angle B, that corresponds to angle X. Angle C, right there, would correspond to Y. Notice I'm using capital letters. And angle D would correspond to Z. So those match up. When shapes are congruent, they are the same shape and the same size. This means that their corresponding sides are equal and their corresponding angles are equal. The symbol for congruent, anytime something is congruent, you have an equal sign with a squiggle on top. That means congruent. Squiggle with an equal sign, that means congruent. So if the measure of side AD, let's look back at our example. If the measure of A to D was 5 inches, then the measure of side WZ, if they're congruent, which means they're exactly the same, would be 5 inches. Okay, so what if the measure of angle D was 100 degrees? That angle right there, if that was 100 degrees, then what would the measure of angle Z be? If they're congruent, they're identical, so it would be 100 degrees. Excuse me. The transformations that create congruent shapes are the ones that create congruent translations, reflections, and rotations. Those 3 transformations will create congruent shapes. Okay, so talking about congruent. Congruent means they're identical. So look at these 2 little pieces of Hershey bar that I have. They are the exact same shape and the exact same size. These little Hershey's, if put on top of each other, they are the exact same. They are pieces of a Hershey bar. Now, notice that this angle is 90 degrees. This is 90 degrees. So, these are exactly the same. When they're identical, they are congruent. Now, let's move on to similar. What does similar mean? Similar is when you have the same shape Same shape, but a different size. So take this Hershey bar. Are these the same shape? Yes, they are. But they're bigger sizes, right? Same shape, different size. This means that their corresponding sides are different, but their corresponding angles are equal. Angle measures never change. Angle measures are always going to stay the same, because look at this Hershey bar to this Hershey bar. Even though they're different sizes, they're similar. This is 90 degrees. This is 90 degrees. So angle measures don't change, but look at the sides. The sides can change. Angles will not change, sides will. The symbol for similar is just a squiggle because they're not equal. It's just the squiggle. Here's an example of what similar shapes look like. So congruent, they were identical. That would be like the two Hershey's that are exactly the same. Those two, exactly the same. Versus similar, they are different. So we've got this Hershey with a piece of a Hershey. So that's where they are similar. Congruent, similar. Now let's look at these two similar shapes here. The corresponding side lengths are different. Notice that A to D, now W to Z, those are different sizes. But if we measure the angles, so what if we have the measure of angle D at 100 degrees? The angle. Remember, like I said on this Hershey bar, that is still 90 degrees, even though it's a different size. Angle measures never change. So what's the angle of Z? 100 degrees, because angle measures don't change. The transformation that creates similar shapes, do you remember from our lesson yesterday? Which shape changes size? Think about when you closed your eyes and you opened your eyes and you looked at the light switch going on and off. A dilation. Dilations are similar because they change the size. Okay, let's look at a few little triads. If you have a shape with an angle of A that equals 65 degrees, then you rotate it and reflect it. What will the measure of the new angle A be? 65 degrees, because angle measures never change. If you have a shape with angle A that equals 48 degrees, and you reflect it, translate it, and dilate it. Oh, there's that dilate word. What will the measure of the new angle A be? 48 degrees. That was a little trick one there. Angle measures never change. Always keep your angles. Side lengths can change, but angles will not. That's a 90 degree, that's a 90 degree, but the sides are different. These congruent, 90, 90, same side, same side. Hope this helps. Y'all have a great day. Bye.